rather have Joe Burrow or Lamar Jackson?
Lamar Jackson.
No.
You're looking at possibly fight of the year there.
Adam loves talking shit, and just like other Eagles fans, he loves eating shit. Oral Roberts plus 15.5.
Double Jack and Coke.
And I was
whatever we can get our hands on, we were drinking it.
Hooting and hollering all kinds of profanities and ruining the experience of the people around me. Let's start talking about the fights whenever. I still think we should do an NHL Playoffs Preview.
When is Wednesday playoffs?
I think they start Sunday. There's the season was supposed to wrap up earlier this week. I think the original plan was to start the playoffs on like May 11th, but because of COVID and stuff and people having to get games rescheduled, I don't think it's starting until Sunday. There's still regular season games going on today and tomorrow.
Right, and you told me like isn't like all the Canada teams playing one another, and then like the Northeastern teams are playing one another, and then the South are playing?
Yeah, well, there's 4 different divisions. There's West, Central, East, and North. North is all the Canadian teams because they're not even allowed. They're still not allowed to travel across the borders. So I don't know how they're going to do the playoffs. The first 2 rounds of the playoffs are within the divisions. So there's like a divisional semifinal and divisional final. And then there's the Stanley Cup semifinal, which is the 2 division winners versus the 2 division winners, and then the winners of those go to the Stanley Cup. So it's kind of a complicated format, but I don't know what they're going to do if the Canadian teams can't travel across the border. I'm sure they'll find a way because hockey is such a big deal up there. I'm sure they'll find a way to make it work. But
yeah, that's what I was kind of interested in because I was like, how are they going to do that? Like, are they going to do like a bubble or what are they going to do? Because I mean, do they have fans right now? I haven't watched any hockey.
So I think the divisional rounds are probably in a bubble. In the U.S., it just depends on the state. Most of them have at least some fans at this point. Canada still has no fans whatsoever. Their regulations are a lot stricter and kind of have been throughout the pandemic because their government's more centralized than ours is. So it's a little bit different up there. The federal government can just kind of control everything.
Well, that's how it is in Germany. You know, my cousins over there.
Right.
They can't go anywhere, and you can only have like one family member visit you at a time, which is insane.
Yeah, it's just a different culture, and they haven't done all that much of a better job of controlling the whole thing than anybody else has.
It's the same. It's like not even any different, really.
Well, the places that have done the best job are like islands, like New Zealand, for example, that can really control who gets in and out and have a strong centralized government.
Yeah,
where they can like make those kinds of rules.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because New Zealand, they have like no cases of COVID.
Right.
You can just tell from Izzy going around just partying it up down there.
Well, seamless transition to UFC.
Yeah.
I was going to go with Michael Chandler having beaten. I was going to go, speaking of New Zealand, Michael Chandler coming off a win against Dan Hooker to fight for the lightweight title against Charles Oliveira this weekend.
The Bronx, man.
The Bronx. It is a card that has unfortunately suffered some losses. Leon Edwards and Nate Diaz got pushed back. You mentioned Jack Hermanson, and who was he supposed to fight?
Edmund Shabazian.
I was looking forward to seeing him get back out there because he lost me some money the last time he fought.
Yeah. Speaking of that, did you see some of the fights that are getting booked in that middleweight division?
I saw the Paulo Costa and Jared Cannoneer for, I think it was August, right?
Mm-hmm. And it looks like Derek Brunson is going to fight Darren Till if he gets cleared of his broken collarbone injury.
That seemed like a quick turnaround for Darren Till, considering he had a broken collarbone.
Yeah, I know. But I think it's in August is what it was, something like that. August, middle of summer.
They both were. Yeah, I don't remember, but I think yeah, they were both in August, maybe September. I think they were both in August, though.
Yeah, somewhere around there. But yeah, it was all depending on if Darren Till could get cleared, though. I know that it's not finalized or anything.
Yeah, I mean, seems like kind of a little bit of an unwise decision. I might take Brunson in that fight as a sneaky underdog to just do what he did against
Kevin
Holland. Not Kevin Holland.
Oh,
the fight before that where he just laid on top of the guy.
Well, it was
Kevin. That's most of what he does. I'm mixing up. I'm mixing up Kevin Holland's last 2 fights with
Mhm.
Derek Brunson's last 2 fights. But yeah, I'm thinking of the Kevin Holland fight where he just laid on top of him the entire time.
Yeah, because he finished Shabazian and then fought Kevin Holland after that.
Yes. Derek Brunson's the one who cost me the money on the
Mhm.
Shabazian bet.
Yeah, that was crazy. Shabazian was done after that. I think he finished him in the 3rd round, but he was done in the 2nd, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and Shabazian came out strong too, and it was looking good. And then
Mm-hmm.
Derek Brunson just stuck with it and got the W that time. But not a lot of great prelim fights tonight, unfortunately, or not tonight, Saturday night, unfortunately. Antonina Shevchenko and Jacare Souza are probably the biggest names in the prelims, although Jacare is, I think, pretty soundly on his way out. I think you'll agree with me there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the way that they're cutting those older guys now, it's if he loses this one, I think it was his third in a row in that middleweight division. So I think I can see them letting go of him pretty easily after this fight. If he wins, what do you do with him though? Even if he wins, I mean,
There's really nothing to do with him. Like, just I say let him finish out his contract and be on his way.
It's kind of like a Cowboy thing, like you don't want to see Cowboy fight for anybody else, after this past weekend. I think he's going to get one more fight, and it should be like a veteran, like it doesn't need to be somebody young like how Alex Moreno was. And then just let him finish that out, be done, retire. Dana White usually takes care of those guys, that the veterans that have stayed with him for so long. So he'll probably get some kind of spot in the company or some kind of share in the company is what I'm assuming after that,
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that. I don't really have any interest in watching Cowboy fight anymore. I didn't particularly have any interest this past weekend in seeing him fight Morono. He's just washed at this point. And as far as Jacare is concerned, that loss to Kevin Holland from when Holland hit him with the back fist from his back, that was just totally embarrassing. And it's tough for me to imagine him coming back with a victory, although I'm not going to bet that fight. I'm going to stay away from that one just because those veterans, that's the same reason I didn't bet the Cowboy fight last weekend, is it's just, you never know with these veterans, how they're going to come out. They oftentimes have one last hurrah when you least expect it. So I kind of tend to stay away from those fights myself.
Yeah. I mean, on my picks, I actually took Moreno last weekend, and mainly because I just thought that, facing a young, hungry guy like that was not good for Cowboy. And, I loved the fight with him and Diego. I think that would have been an easier fight for him. But man, Diego just went off the rails, man. It's just, that stuff is
What
just
happened
crazy.
with him?
So, man, it's sad, man, because I just watching like him and Cowboy. I watched Diego from the first Ultimate Fighter, and his coach / manager, whatever he is, the School of Death Punch, whatever I don't know what the hell he does.
School of Death Punch?
Yeah, I don't know if you heard that story where Cowboy's buddy beat him up in the bar.
No.
He said he was, I guess, the Joshua Fabio, whatever, was talking about all that shit about some dude and saying he can do the death punch, and Cowboy's buddy just beat the shit out of him in the bar.
Oh man.
But it's just sad because I think he got Diego at a moment of weakness. He was going through a divorce, and that's tough for anybody in that situation, let alone a fighter who's also going through the emotions of fighting. Because I mean, we don't really know what those guys go through on a day-to-day basis, and he was just there. I mean, he was that guy to be like, to uplift him essentially.
Well, and remember, I sent you that interview with George St. Pierre, the Dan Le Batard interviewing George St. Pierre. That was a really good interview where basically GSP was basically talking about how he was afraid before every fight, and he's
right.
Maybe the greatest fighter of all time, pound for pound, and he basically said, if you're not afraid before these fights, you're either lying to yourself or you're an actual crazy person. And I think there are plenty of those actual crazy people, but it kind of speaks to the fact that these guys, oftentimes they just come from these really difficult backgrounds, or, you know, GSP was saying is basically a way for him to make money, right? And nobody really wants to be doing this. And that's why so many of these guys come from these rough backgrounds, and MMA provides them with an opportunity to really make something out of their lives and make money, even coming from, you know, a disadvantaged situation where you might not have the educational or financial resources that a lot of other people do. And that's kind of the great thing about sports in general, and why sports kind of unify people and bring people together, because it's ostensibly a meritocracy, although that's not always the case in all sports. But you know, MMA, more than any of them, you just are stripped down to your underpants and trying to take another man's dignity, pretty much. So that's the appeal of it to me.
Yeah, I mean, you're cage fighting in your underwear, you know. But it's going to be interesting because, you know, we're going to have a great guest on today, and we're going to be able to get inside the mind of a fighter. So it should be good hearing from Keith Berry today.
Yeah, we are going to have Keith Berry, former Bellator fighter, former King of the Cage world champion, on later in the show. But he's going to give us his breakdown of Chandler versus Oliveria this weekend. But before we get to him, do you want to do our picks for the rest of the main card there, and leading up to the Michael Chandler and Charles Oliveira fight?
Yeah, let's go ahead, man. Let's get into it. You know, I'm slowly making ground up on you right now.
Are you? What are our records right now?
So as of right now, you're 19-10, and I'm 16-13.
19-10, 16-13.
Yeah, because we only did.
We only did like 3 fights.
The main event the last time or something.
No, yeah, that's what it was. We only did the main event, and I had Dominic Reyes, and you had Yuri.
My boy Yuri.
Yeah, I picked Giga and Lopez Locks, and he was my only. I went 1 and 2 in my pick segment, unfortunately. Man, hockey betting is difficult. I threw a hockey bet in there. That was a mistake.
Dude, it's like I told you, I don't know shit about hockey, but I'm willing to learn. I've been getting into the horse racing ever since the Kentucky Derby, so it's dangerous sometimes.
Well, do we want to talk about that just really briefly, and the whole Bob Baffert deal before we get into the picks?
Yeah, let's get into it a little bit, man. Because listen, we won on the Medina Spirit, I think is what the horse's name was.
Yeah.
It was me, my mom, and my dad. We were all watching the Kentucky Derby, and I was getting ready to bet. Actually, Known Agenda was who I was going to bet, which I'm glad I didn't. I stayed away from that because I think Known Agenda came in like 8th and didn't even show. But my mom purely picked the horse out of just, she liked the name. She was like, I like that name. Let's pick that. And we put $20 on it at 12-1.
Do you think she's BSing you? Do you think if she was really picking all these horses on the name, do you really think she's doing that, or do you think she's just I
think she might be the luckiest person in the world, because
that's what I'm saying. Like, do you think she's fooling with you? Maybe
she might be fooling with me, because like sometimes she'll just be like, hey, turn on the horse races, and so you can go on like YouTube, and I think it's I'm trying to think of the casino that does the horse racing live, and we've been watching a couple of them. And I swear to God, maybe she'll lose like 2 races out of the 8. I'm like, how the fuck do you pick these horses all the time?
Well, I don't know about your mom's secret mojo, but if she's got the secret mojo, you got to start letting me in on some of that.
Listen,
I need some mojo.
I've been riding that wave high, because she has really helped me out in a lot of those horse racing. Because I don't know, I mean, I hit the superfecta on one of them, which is you get first, second, third, and fourth correct.
Oh wow.
But other than that, I've hit that one time, and I break even most of the time. But when I bet with her, I end up winning like $50 to $60.
I mean, it really makes you, the whole Bob Baffert thing from a gambling perspective really just makes you wonder about the integrity of the sport, though. It's like like 90s baseball, where is everybody just cheating, and it's just a matter of who's the best at cheating and at not getting
Or the
caught?
Olympics.
Because the amount of like BS excuses that the Baffert team came up with, like on their way to finally saying, oh, it was this steroid cream for their skins. Like, I feel fairly certain they're testing the blood of the horses, and that I don't know how the steroid cream works, but it seems like a load of bull crap, and that they just got caught, and he's coming up with a convenient excuse based on this cream.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that cream stuff works. I know it can seep in, but I mean, fuck, I don't know. I don't know shit about it, you know. But at the same time, like when we do like these smaller races, you know, 9 times out of 10, the favorite wins. Mm-hmm. But then I've noticed when like when you go back and you watch like some of the Kentucky Derbies, the Preakness, the Belmont, the favorite doesn't always necessarily win, and they normally don't do that great either. Because I believe Known Agenda was the favorite going into the Kentucky Derby, and like I said, finished 8th. Like, and a 12-1 horse won. Like, you know, that kind of makes you think about really what's going on and how they set those lines for those horse races.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it. I don't know. I'm not like a huge horse race. I've been to horse races. It's a fun thing to do, fun. But it's also kind of raises some questions about the way that the animals are treated as well, right? If you're pumping these animals full of drugs that obviously have no say or consent in the matter, and
well, that's why I'm surprised nobody's actually stepped up, because, you know, like those dog racing, man, they really went after those people.
Right. And it's really the only difference is that dogs are kept as pets and horses are more viewed as kind of livestock. So
right.
To me, it's pretty much the same thing. Like, I'll still go to a horse race. I guess maybe I shouldn't, but you know, they're pumping these animals full of drugs and essentially forcing them to move faster and run faster and harder than nature intended them to be, because they're not being pumped full of steroids in a natural environment. And so there's some ethical questions there for sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure if everybody's doing it, but it's a likelihood that most of them are doing that, and it's definitely a shady business,
right?
Like, for sure. I still enjoy going to the horse track and doing that. Like, I've been to Churchill Downs. Like, I love going to those places. It's fun. It's like a good time to spend. If you want to go, you don't even have to gamble. I mean, you can just go there and enjoy it. I mean, just being outside and watching. Those horses are really, I mean, they're beautiful and they're incredible, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great atmosphere and a great environment. It's just I can't enjoy it as much as I would after knowing sort of the seedy underbelly of the sport. Even if it's not universal, it's definitely a thing that happens. So
right.
Well, at least in UFC, if the guys are, at least Jon Jones has a choice when he's pumping himself full of drugs. So
yeah, you chose to put those drugs in you. There ain't no doubt about
that. I don't feel too bad for them. So we got a five fight main card here. Not totally sure of the order of the fights at this point.
Hey, while you're looking that up, have you seen any pictures of Jon Jones recently?
No, I haven't. Not in a couple of months, but I'm sure he's looking like a tank.
It is. He looks like a monster right now.
Yeah. Well, we've spent plenty of time arguing about him. I don't want to rehash that right now. We can argue more about that once we get to the Ngannou and Lewis fight. But
yeah, it sounds like they're trying to get him to fight Stipe too, John.
Ooh, I would watch that. That would be good.
Well, why not put them both on the same card? Fuck it.
Oh, that would be awesome. But that wouldn't make sense because Jon Jones needs to be the headliner.
Exactly. I was about to say you could almost put Jon as the headliner on that one.
Yeah. Okay, so it looks like the first fight is a bantamweight bout between Matt Schnell and Rogerio Bontorin. Neither of us really knew much about this guy. I don't really know a whole lot about Schnell either.
Yeah, I had to really go back and look into him. I mean, I've watched Matt Schnell since he was on The Ultimate Fighter, but I knew very little on Rogerio. It looks like these are two flyweights going at it, so it's going to be fast paced, and exciting. I've kind of grown to really enjoy the flyweight division, especially since
It says bantamweight on here. It says they're fighting a bantamweight.
really.
That's what it says on the UFC site.
Oh, maybe I'm crazy then. Maybe he's moving up.
I think one of them is moving up. I can't remember. I had it
I
written
think
down somewhere, but I can't find it.
Looks like Rogerio's moving up because he did fight. I saw he fought Kai Kara France last, so I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, it could just be a typo on the website too. I don't know for sure.
Well, flyweight, bantamweight. Those are still exciting divisions, no matter what.
Yeah, kind of similar.
Yeah, I like Matt Schnell. I think he's got a better stand-up game. From what I've seen from Rogerio, is more of a ground jiu-jitsu fighter.
Yeah.
Should be interesting. And, it's going to be fun. It looks like Matt Schnell is going to have the reach in that one with a 70-inch reach compared to 67, and a taller fighter at that. 5'7" compared to 5'4". So I think Matt Schnell is going to use his range, use his length in that, and kind of keep this fight at distance, and probably win by decision. I don't see him finishing him. I think this fight definitely goes to decision.
Yeah, he's also just a hotter fighter. I think he's like won a couple of fights in a row. I don't remember exactly what his record is in the last 5 or so fights, but I think he's only lost like 1 or 2 fights in the last 5 or so.
Yeah, so, he lost to Alexander Pantoja, which was his last loss, but he's looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he's 6-1 in his last 7 fights.
Yeah, he's like a -160 favorite right now. So there's a lot of people actually picking Rogerio out there just because they're thinking he has enough on the feet to kind of manage it himself, and then if he can get it to the ground, he could potentially get a submission. But I didn't have the confidence in him, and I'm picking Schnell, like you said, better fighter on the feet, and I think he's got enough ground game that he can hopefully not get submitted and get the victory there.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's no slouch on the ground whatsoever. Matt Schnell is. I mean, he submitted Luis Smoka by triangle choke. He submitted Jordan Espinoza by triangle choke. So I mean, and that's his last 2 wins before the Alexander Pantoja loss. Pantoja, yeah.
So you're going Schnell as well?
I'm going Schnell. Yep.
Okay. Next up, we have Edson Barboza and Shane Burgos. I'm pretty excited about this one. I bet you are too.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I mean, before we got on here, that was one of the fights that I talked to you about. That I couldn't believe that Edson Barboza was an underdog in this one.
I know.
To be honest with you, which was really shocking to me. Edson Barboza moving down from that lightweight division. I know I think this is his 3rd fight, maybe down there at featherweight.
2nd or 3rd, yeah.
Yes. I really like Edson Barboza that weight. If it's not killing him to get down to there, it's absolutely not just draining his cardio, his gas tank.
Oh no, he fought Dan Ige, so this will be his 3rd one. He lost to Dan Ige, and then he beat Makwan Amirkhani.
Yeah. So, and Dan Ige is no slouch, man.
No, Dan Ige's good.
Yeah, and I think he's got a big fight coming up, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know who he's fighting off the top of my head. But you look at the tail of the tape with Shane Burgos and Edson Barboza. Shane Burgos is no slouch either in the stand-up division. He's more of a boxer than he is kickboxer like Edson Barboza. I mean, they're so similar, both 5'9", and both with a 75-inch reach. So this is going to be a fun fight. I think this might be your fight of the night. At least up there contending for it. I go back and forth on this one, man. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. Shane Burgos is pretty nuts. He did lose his last time out, although he beat Cub Swanson and again Makwan Amirkhani before that. Edson really impressed me when he fought. I mean, he looked good in the Dan Ige fight too. It was a split decision. Like it wasn't a bad fight for him by any stretch of the imagination. I think he was probably still getting adjusted and fighting one of the better guys in the division. And then he beat, like I said, Amirkhani the next time out on the back in October. So I really like Edson. I think I think the kickboxing is going to be a huge advantage for him. I could see him, getting Burgos on the legs and on the body a few times and softening him up, and then I don't know if Edson will get a finish, but I do expect him to get the victory. So I'm going to pick him at the plus money. He's about plus 120 right now.
Yeah, I mean, I love Edson Barboza at that money line right there, man. I think you get great value there, and I do think those leg kicks will, especially those calf kicks, will definitely play a factor in this fight. But you know what? I'm going to go with Shane Burgos. I think he's fought the better competition down at featherweight, not the same competition that Edson's fought at lightweight. Definitely fought better guys up there with Khabib. Dan Hooker. The list goes on. Edson's fought him, Paul Felder twice. But I'm going to go with Shane Burgos here. His last loss was to Josh Emmett, and Josh Emmett is no slouch down there.
Right.
Huge KO power. So I'm going to go with Shane here in this one, and I think he gets it done.
All right. Plus, you got to make up ground on me.
I do.
Win this liquor bottle at the end of the year.
I do. So I gotta mix it up.
In this next one, I know that neither of us really knew much about Viviane Araújo. She's number 7 in the women's flyweight division, and she has been on a little bit of a run here, 4-1 in her last 5, going up against Caitlin. I never know if it's Caitlin or Caitlin Chookagian, who lost to Jessica Andrade her last time out. No, she won a fight since then. Do you remember who it was?
I can pull it up for you real quick.
No, yeah, if you could pull that up for a second, that'd be great. But she's 2-2 in her last 4. She's trying to win 2 in a row for the first time in a while, although she's still the number 2 contender in the flyweight division. It's not a super competitive division because of Valentina up at the top, but
yeah, I mean, so she beat Cynthia Calvillo last by unanimous decision.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, she's gone back and forth. Lost to Valentina, and then fought her sister right after that. Beat her sister, and then lost to Andrade, and then beat Calvillo.
Yeah, so a little up and down as she's been hovering around the top of the division, getting almost a little bit of a gatekeeper label, which I think she's really looking to shake out of, and I think beating Viviane would do a good job of that. This up and coming hot contender, who's Chookagian is a minus 150 dog. Rojo is around plus 120 right now. Yeah,
I mean, Chookagian's beat the reason why she got the title shot. She beat Joanna, then she beat Jennifer Maia, so both of those were number 1 contenders at one point. Joanna Calderon was supposed to fight Valentina at one point, and then she suffered some losses, and Chookagian stepped in, fought Valentina, and got dominated in that fight. Let's be honest here; it wasn't a close fight.
No.
And then beat Shevchenko pretty handily. Wrestled her a lot, and then lost to Andrade. That she got caught with a body punch with that liver shot. I mean, that can happen to anybody in that situation, especially with Andrade. I mean, it was nasty. And then beat Cynthia Calvillo. I mean, she's beaten the top girls in that division. So, I mean, she's almost like a Robert Whittaker in a sense for that division. Just they keep putting.
Except Robert Whittaker was champion.
Yeah, I understand, but Robert Whittaker doesn't have a Valentina in that division either. I mean, Izzy's good, but I don't think he's not to Valentina's level of
the talent
dominance.
Disparity. Is not between him and the next group of people is not as much as it is for Valentina. Yeah, she's Chookagian's going to have to use her size here because Viviane is the much more explosive fighter. She's a violent striker, whereas Chookagian's more of a kind of stays out of range and tries to touch you up using her size. Although they do have about the same reach, with Chookagian being several inches taller. I think Viviane's around 5'4", and Chookagian's I think closer to 5'8" or 5'9". I don't know exactly how
you hit that pretty for you guessing that. That's pretty damn good. 5'8" and 5'3".
Yeah. So I really like Vivian at the plus money here. She's young, she's a hot fighter, and she's the more explosive of the two. She could win by knockout. She could win on the ground. I always say, the fighter with more paths to victory is the one you want to bet on, and that's why I am taking Vivian Araujo.
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to disagree with you. I think Caitlin's the better fighter here. I think she gets it done, uses her wrestling as well, and stays away from the submissions. And I'm gonna take Caitlin in this one.
All right, very good. Now, this next fight, the co-main event, unfortunately, Leon Edwards and Nate Diaz had to get pushed back because of whatever injury Nate Diaz is dealing with. Not shocking at this stage in his career with the way he fights, that he's constantly dealing with injuries. But
yeah, I think it was a cut that he suffered in training, is what it was, because he cuts so easily.
He's always bleeding out of some
Mhm.
sort of hole in his face. So the co-main event is going to be Tony Ferguson and Benil Daryush. Daryush is another hot fighter on the way up. He's number 9 in the lightweight division. Tony's still number 5, although I don't think that will still be the case after tonight. Right now, official odds on Daryush are anywhere from -150 to -180, depending on the book you're looking at, with Tony being plus 125 to plus 140 or so underdog. And I know you like Tony a lot. I think that Justin Gaethje fight really messed him up, and I'm not sure how much more Tony has left in the tank after that, and after the couple of losses that he's taken recently.
Yeah, I mean, it's just sad, really. Tony's another Ultimate Fighter guy that I've watched for a long time. That Justin Gaethje fight, that really was kind of the beginning of the end for him, I think. It's just, and what a win streak he put together at that lightweight division as well. But, Benil Daryush is putting quite a win streak together himself right now. 6 in a row, and he looks great, man. That's all I can say. He looks great, and I think he's catching Tony right at the right time.
Yeah, I mean, I really think this. Well, first of all, I think Daryush is going to win. I think he matches up favorably with Tony Ferguson, even barring what's happened to Tony recently against Justin Gaethje and against Charles Oliveira. I still think it was a favorable matchup for Daryush. And like you said, at this stage in Tony's career, with the damage that he's taken in these last couple of fights, I just really like this to be Daryush's chance to sort of vault himself into title contention, into what's now become a wide open lightweight division with Khabib retiring. He could see himself certainly top 5 with the win here, beating the number 5 contender, potentially top 4, maybe even as high as 3 with the fact that one of these guys is gonna take a loss here in the title fight as well. So I like Daryush. I think he'll be able to wrestle successfully, and I mean, he could even get a finish on the feet, honestly, with the damage that Tony's been taking. If it's still mentally affecting him, I just don't see. I think like you said, it was kind of the beginning of the end for Tony. But if there's anybody, I'm not betting this fight. If there's anybody who could totally surprise us, it would be Tony Ferguson. But I just got to pick Benil here.
Yeah, I agree with you. If somebody's going to surprise you on this card, it's going to be Tony, just with his toughness. I don't see him getting finished in this fight. I would be interested in seeing what the decision is, like for it to go 3 rounds, just because if Justin Gaethje couldn't finish him in 3 rounds, I don't see Benil Daryush being able to finish him in 3. It took Justin all the way to the 5th round to actually put him away. I mean, I'm taking Benil on this one too. I think he gets it done. I think he wins by decision, and just probably just dominates him. With his wrestling, he'll take him down, ground and pound, and then come to the 3rd round, I think he just outstrikes him and just outpoints him all around. So I'm going with Benil on this one as well.
All right, good deal. So we have both picked Schnell and Daryush, and we have differed on the Barboza-Burgos fight. You took Burgos, I took Barboza, and then I took Araujo, and you took Caitlin Chukagian. So stay tuned next for our interview with Keith KO Kid Berry. We'll talk to him, get his pick, give our picks on the main event, Chandler versus Oliveira. Talk to him a little bit about his marijuana business, cryptocurrency trading, and more. So make sure you stay tuned for that. All right, I'm excited to talk to this guy, Josh. I know you are too. So right now we're going to welcome in pro MMA fighter Keith KO Kid Berry. He's former King of the Cage middleweight world champion and Bellator fighter. He's got a professional record of 17, 15, and 1. But based off his social media lately, I'm not sure if he'd rather be talking about fighting or his investments and his side hustles in cryptocurrency and cannabis. So, Keith, thank you so much for joining us today. We've got way too many questions for you to get to in our short time together right now, but and we will get to the MMA stuff and your pick on the UFC 262 main event between Charles Oliveira and Michael Chandler. What's next for you? You and Chandler actually overlapped a little bit in Bellator, although in different divisions, obviously. But first, I'd like to start with your interest in cryptocurrency. There's a huge boom in the industry right now, and so I'd like to start with the most important question of all. Is it, Keith? Is it Doggy Coin or is it Dogecoin?
It is Dogecoin.
Ah, okay. All right.
Doggy Coin, no, it's Doge.
Okay, all right. Fair enough. So now that we've got that resolved, how did you just first get into this? Was it the initial like Doggy Coin boom with Elon Musk, or how did you get into that?
This is back in like November. Back in November, one of my close friends, he's another fighter. He kind of told me about it. Said, he's all, man, check this out. And he told me some other ones about Cardano and some other cryptos at the time. I had a little Ethereum, and I just started small. And I put like 200 bucks into it. And then in December, I put another 500 bucks into it because I had extra money. I was making money from cannabis, basically making money selling weed legally. And then I just throwing it all into, cryptos, because at that time, cryptos, they kept going up. So I just figured there was like a matter of time before Dogecoin was going to like break out. So then in January, it broke out like, I had it like 1/8 of a cent or something. It could have been like a 1/10 of a cent. I'm not really sure. But it broke out in January, and I had like 600 bucks worth, and it went up to like 13 grand. So I was like, oh shit, this is like a good amount of money. So I held on to it for a little bit. I ended up selling a little, and I wished I would have just held on to all of it. And then it went up to like 20, 30 cents. Now it's like at 50, and I don't know. It's been a really cool like community, and I've honestly just been getting really high, and then getting on Twitter and like looking up, all the little memes, and I don't know. I like the whole thing. I like that it's easy. It's easy to transfer Doge.
All right, and Keith has dropped out of the call. Like the memes and the whole Elon Musk thing, and just the kind of the community aspect of the cryptocurrency stuff.
Yeah, I just kind of got in the community, and a lot of the people were, I don't know, just super cool and super nice. People would send me Doge to like do giveaways with. So then, I don't know, I just thought it was really cool. And then like some people I sent some Doge to, and then Doge did like a huge jump. And then people were sending me messages like they really appreciate it. It turned like 20 bucks into like, one of them was like 160. So it was kind of cool.
Oh, damn.
It was just cool seeing all that. Yeah, it's just cool like giving to a bunch of like really nice people anyway. And it was all given to me for free. So it's been a fun little ride. And yeah,
that's awesome, man. Like I've been keeping up with your Twitter, that's how me and you met, like through Twitter essentially. But I was I'd see your tweets come out, and you'd be going up for a morning run, but I'm gonna wake and bake first before my morning run.
Yeah. I try to promote all the things that I'm into. So I run because I love just staying in good shape for fighting. And then I smoke a lot because I just love weed. So, yeah.
Man, join the club on that one. So I do want to ask you actually a little bit more specifically about the weed business. But when Keith Berry wakes up and he's waking bacon for his morning run, what is the song that Keith Berry is putting on as he gets ready to run out the front door?
Lately I've been listening to Tiesto, Let's Get Down to Business.
Oh man, that's
And then I
Good
kind of
choice.
I listen to a bunch of rap and like different I go through different genres like all the time, but I like a lot of rap and rock. So,
right on, right on.
but yeah, Tiesto, Let's Get Down to Business has been my song of choice
Nice.
lately.
And just as far as the weed stuff goes, you said you got into business basically with your friends when everything shut down for the pandemic. Is this just like friends from back home in California that you knew? And what sort of role do you play with Grow Packer?
Yeah, so my friend Stephen Boyd, he started this company. He's a really smart guy. I went to high school with him. I've just been friends with him for a long time, and it was just like a really good connection. I stayed cool with him, and he doesn't actually smoke weed at all. And he started this company. It's a big distribution company here in Palm Springs. So we make about 5 different brands, and then we distribute. We make our own brands, and we only sell to like retail dispensaries. So like we sell to some medical clinics too, but yeah. So we sell to the retail stores, and then we make our margin. We're basically wholesale. We make all our products. We white label a flower company called Urban Zen, and then we make stones, coca, tonic, and then we have like lemonades, and
That's awesome.
we have a lot of good stuff. We have tinctures, we have dabs, we have all that shit.
That's awesome, man. So like I live in Josh unfortunately lives in North Carolina, so there's no marijuana legalization whatsoever there. But I live in Oklahoma, where just recently in the last couple of years since I've lived here, we've gotten medicinal marijuana. So are you guys like just within California, or could I potentially go to an Oklahoma dispensary and find some Grow Packer bud there?
Yeah, so our distribution company is named Grow Packer, and then our bud would be called Urban Zen. And then we have a really like crazy product that's been killing the market. It's called Tonic. It's Tonik, and it's a fast acting, basically weed shot. It gets you high in like 10 to 15 minutes. It's like really strong. But we just signed a big contract with Michigan and all the other like Midwest states. So I don't know about Oklahoma in general or specifically, but I could find out. It could be Oklahoma too. I mean, we're really trying to branch out. We're going to become like, what do they call it when it's interstate? So we're going to be traveling to other states and getting our product in Michigan first, and then other states around Michigan. So Oklahoma could be next, I hope.
I hope so, man. I wrote it down. I wrote down the tonic right there because that sounds really interesting. Man,
Yeah,
it sounds like
I'll definitely, I'll have to send you guys some samples just to like let you guys try it. When we hang up, I'll get your guys' address.
Yeah.
You guys shoot me an address and a DM, and then I'll show you guys some samples for sure.
delightful.
awesome. Yeah, like me being in North Carolina, man, I'm in the deep south here. I'm screwed when it comes to anything like that.
Yeah,
So
for sure. Sure.
it's rough around here. I mean,
It probably feels extra good smoking there, though.
you're right about that. It's been a while, me being a dad now, it's been a while since I've smoked, but I'm not opposed to a free sample here. I'm not opposed to that one bit.
Good. All right, cool.
All right, well, we'll give you another shot at some of the promotion stuff here at the end after we talk a little bit of fighting. We'll talk some fighting. We'll get your shout outs, and then we'll get you out of here, man. I know you just got off a long day of work and probably want to get rolling, but so we got UFC 262 big lightweight fight, title fight, filling the spot vacated by Khabib just last year after he beat Justin Gaethje. So we got Michael Chandler, 2 fights into the UFC out of Bellator after a really dominant run in Bellator. And then we got Charles Oliveira. Who you got, Keith?
I think this is like it's kind of like jiu-jitsu guy versus wrestler. But Michael Chandler, man, he has some power in those hands. I feel like he's gonna get another finish, and I think that would be really cool for his story. And I don't know. There's something about Oliveira. He looks a little skinny. I feel like Michael Chandler. He's just gonna. I don't know. We'll see. I'm seeing a TKO for Chandler, but I mean Oliveira just beat Tony. I'm actually good friends with Tony. I won't, maybe not good friends, but I know him pretty well, and I've known him for a long time. So I was hoping that he was going to beat Oliveira, and then I was pretty shocked. Oliveira does have really impressive jiu-jitsu, and wow, it was crazy to see him submit Tony like that. But I still think Chandler is going to get that TKO or maybe a decision. I don't know.
So I had one follow-up question for that, but I'm going to just throw that out the window because you said you know Tony Ferguson a little bit, and I'm going to ask you this question instead and say, is Tony Ferguson actually as crazy as the vibe he gives off publicly?
Yeah, I mean,
didn't mean to put you on the spot there, Keith.
I know.
But I did.
I don't know, man. I've had some not disputes, but basically other people that I train with would have problems with them, coaches and all this stuff, and then I don't know, they came to me trying to be the intermediary between it. I don't know. Tony he's a different guy. He does different.
Yeah.
Like one time, like he would train some of the times at this gym I went to, American Gym in Newport Beach, and he'd be teaching the class, and he'd be like, "All right, Keith, we're doing this today," and we'd just be like rolling around and doing somersaults and like weird shit. And my coach would get all mad with him, and they got into it a couple times. The other coach I had at the time. But Tony, like, he's a nice guy, but he does some really cool like cardio drills. I did runs with him.
Yeah.
He was an animal at running, and then he would like do these crawls, and then he'd climb up trees, and he'd run more and jump over fences. And I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. It's kind of cool. And like all over Orange County. So that was fun, but he's definitely he's a different guy. He's a different guy.
Now, Keith, I don't know if you've heard, but did you hear that Joshua Fabio is going to be in his corner too this weekend?
Who's going to be in whose corner?
Tony's corner. Diego's guy, Diego Sanchez, Joshua Fabio, whatever.
Did you say they got a bar fight or something?
In, Ferguson's corner?
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds like
that is the face of
like a
somebody who thinks
nightmare.
that is a
right?
bad idea. Oh man! All right,
man.
so a little insight there from Keith into the Tony Ferguson dynamic. Yeah, he mentioned the weird cardio stuff. That's what they always show before the big UFC cards where Tony's on him and like rolling and spinning all over the place. So I like Michael Chandler as well. I got him on my Zoom background here, USA all the way. One of my best friends, Emmanuel Ribeiro, is Brazilian. So I always got to cheer against the Americans, against the Brazilians. Josh, who you got?
Yeah, I love Michael Chandler. And I've got to make up ground. Keith, this is nothing against you guys. I've got to make up ground on our bets. Right now, I'm down. I believe it was what
3 games. You're down.
Yeah.
You're down 3 games behind me.
I'm down three fights right now. So I gotta go with Charles Oliveira by submission in this one. I think if Chandler tries to take it to the ground, I think his jiu-jitsu is going to be too much for him down there.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
We pick all the fights every week, so we got a little competition going at the end of the year. The loser has to buy the winner a liquor bottle. So thanks again to Keith for joining us. Before we get you out of here, why don't you tell us, shout out your social media handles, any of your business ventures that you want people to hear about, and tell us what's next for Keith Berry in the MMA game, please.
Basically, I'm just training for fun right now. I had this fight that came up in Germany that might happen for, if it's like a decent amount of money, like 25 grand. So I'm just kind of waiting around for that and seeing what happens and staying in shape and training. But yeah, I don't really have anything to shout out. I have my main sponsor that's been with me for years. It's called Gentleman's Fight Club. It's a like a kind of a lifestyle brand here in LA, and I always support them. And then Elite Garden, it's like a marijuana farm basically. So them, and then Grow Packer.
Nice.
And that's it. Fucking Doge to the moon, man.
I hear you. Hey Keith, before I let you go though, I've seen some of your boxing matches. Is there any chance we can see you boxing?
Yeah, I actually there's this guy that I lost to. His name's what's his name? Marco Deckman,
Mm-hmm.
and he's one of Freddie Roach's guys. He's just a big, tall fucker, and I know I could have beat him, and I just didn't train enough, and I kind of needed the money at the time. I didn't train enough, so I feel like I would love to actually do that boxing fight again. And I actually just told my friend about this. I think it was yesterday. Randomly, I was like, dude, I would love to like run that back again when I have a full training camp. So maybe that'll come up. Yeah, maybe that'll come up. I'm starting to now get in better shape. So boxing, MMA, even though MMA is more like, it's a little more my style because I do like jiu-jitsu a lot too. So,
Mhm.
but yeah. So
I'm
I
telling you, man,
definitely think there's definitely some more competing left in.
yeah, man, I love some of those boxing matches you were in. I watched a couple of them the other day, and you know, maybe if we'll try and get this out there. Maybe we'll get you that Jake Paul fight. How about that?
Fucking Jake Paul. Hey, you know what? Jake Paul, he's not too bad. You know,
I know.
I didn't like him a lot at first, but he's actually not bad boxer at all. He's probably like pretty tough. I would actually love to spar him for free, just to see like how slick he is, like in a real like 10 to 12 round sparring match, you know.
Right.
But no, I mean, shit, he's fucking knocked out Askren, man. That was crazy. I feel like
That was tough,
Askren really
man.
let
That's
everyone
tough.
down on that. That
Don't
was
get me started
tough.
on this Ben
Even if he got
Askren.
paid just to take a fall,
Yeah,
even if he got paid to take a fall,
He got hit, man.
that still hurt us all.
he did.
He
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
hit hard. That looks like
Yeah.
that was a real knockout.
Yeah, it did.
So,
Well,
yeah.
Keith, man, we appreciate it, man. Thank you so much again.
Thank you, brother.
You've been great, dude. And we definitely we'll have you on again, man, if you want. Absolutely, anytime.
Oh yeah, that sounds amazing, man. I appreciate you guys. Send me your guys' address and my DM on like Twitter,
Yeah.
which is at KOKid951. And
Absolutely.
yeah, hit me up and I'll send you guys some samples, and I have some Doge stickers I'll send you too.
Hey.
Awesome. Thanks, Keith, man. We
Thanks, Keith.
appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. All right, guys, you guys have a good night. I'll talk to you guys later.
See you,
Take it
man.
easy, man.
Thanks.